I was deep in a dream, riding a wave of flawless Python code, the kind that makes clients sing your praises and your bank account hum a happy tune. Then, like a cruel plot twist, reality hit me with the scream of a chainsaw. It wasn't just noisy, it was an assault, rattling my teeth and yanking me from sleep. Heart pounding like I'd down a triple shot espresso. My first thought was, did Tom finally buy that ridiculous industrial mower he's been eyeing? I stumbled to the window, still groggy, and peeked through the blinds. What I saw wasn't Tom's latest lawn gadget. It was a massacre. Two burly guys, looking like they could bench press a pickup truck, were tearing into Old Man Sycamore, the ancient oak that stood like a guardian at the entrance to our cul-de-sac in Greenhaven Estates. Wood chips flew like furious wasps, and the tree our neighborhood's heart, the pro-V wider of shade, the kids climbing haven, the silent witness to countless summer barbecues groaned under the blade. I muttered, no, 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 fumbling for yesterday's jeans, my pulse racing. This wasn't just a tree. It was history, and someone was butchering it. I burst out the front door, hair a mess, probably sporting pillow creases on my face. The chainsaw's roar was a physical blow, but there she was, Laura Mitchell, the iron-fisted HOA president, standing with her arms crossed, a clipboard tucked under one arm like a dictator's scepter. She watched the carnage with a smug nod, like she was overseeing a masterpiece. Laura, I shouted, try to outscream the chainsaw. What the hell is this? She barely glanced my way, her voice dripping with that patronizing tone she saved for us lowly non-HOA peasants. Oh, James, good morning. Just some necessary CIVYC improvements. Beautification, you know. Beautification? I snapped, my voice cracking. You're killing Old Man Sycamore. Did you even get a permit? These are city trees, Laura. She turned, fixing me with a stare that could sour milk. As HOA president, James, I decide what's best for the community. These trees were a problem, roots cracking sidewalks, leaves making a mess every fall. I sputtered. They've been here longer than the sidewalks. Did you even ask anyone? Hold a vote. She scoffed, tapping her clipboard. Executive decision, James. Bylaw 7, subsection C. Read your HOA handbook. It's enlightening. She waved a hand. Besides, we need sunlight for the begonias I'm planting. Begonias? I felt my jaw drop. You're murdering a 100-year-old oak for saw begonias, saw? One of the lumberjacks revved his chainsaw, and Old Man Sycamore gave a heart-wrenching groan, crashing to the ground with a thud that silenced the birds. But Laura wasn't done. She directed her crew to 2 more maples down the block, turning our shady haven into a sun-scorched wasteland. Mrs. Larson, the sweet widow next door, stood on her porch, tears streaming down her face. Even Tom, who obsessed over his lawn's exact blade height, looked grim. Laura, meanwhile, Super VY, said the loading of the hacked-up logs, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. This isn't right, I said to Mrs. Larson, my voice tight. There's no way she had permits. Mrs. Larson sniffled. She came by yesterday, all smiles, talking about curb appeal and sight lines. Said the trees ruined her VY shown for aesthetic uniformity. I muttered, aesthetic uniformity? Sounds like whatever Laura wants, Laura gets. Fury settled in my gut like a cold stone. This wasn't just about tree sit, it was about a tyrant drunk on power. I burned a vacation day and headed to City Hall, determined to debug Laura's reign of terror. The planning department was a maze of ringing phones, clacking keyboards, and the faint smell of stale coffee. I approached a clerk named Evelyn, whose expression screamed she'd seen it all and wasn't impressed. I started, keeping my tone polite. I need to check on tree removal permits for Elmwood Circle in Greenhaven Estates. Evelyn didn't look up from her ancient monitor. Form 34B, arboreal inquiries. Fill it out in triplicate. 6 to 8 weeks. I pressed. The trees were cut saw this morning saw, and I think illegally by our HOA president. That got her attention. One sharp eyebrow arched. HOA, huh? Name. I gave her the details, and after a long pause filled with her 2-finger typing, she said, no permits issued for Greenhaven in 5 years. City trees are municipal assets. Strict rules. A grin crept across my face. So she just did it? Evelyn almost smirked. Your HOA president's in a woody pickle. She slid me a form. File a 72 Delta for unauthorized asset alteration. NVY Ronminal Ser VYCES will investigate. I thanked her, feeling like I'd just been handed a sword to slay a dragon. Laura, obly VY us to her looming doom, called an emergency HOA meeting in a now sun-baked community park ironic, since her beautification had killed its shade. Neighbors gathered, simmering with anger. Laura, in a pastel blazer that screamed, "I'm in charge," launched into her defense. The removal of those overgrown shrubs was VY Tau for VY Sewell appeal and sidewalk safety. I stepped forward, voice sharp. Shrubs? Laura, those were 50-foot oaks and maples. I checked with the Citino permits. What you did was saw a legal saw. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Laura's eye twitched, but she doubled down. The city's slow, James. Leadership means acting, not waiting. Mrs. Larson's husband, Ed, spoke up, voice shaky but firm. Those trees gave us shade. My AC bill's going to double. And what about the birds? Laura waved him off. A small prize for progress. Less raking, Ed. And the begonias will be lovely. The meeting dissolved into chaos, with Laura stonewalling every concern. Days later, as I watered my scorched flower beds, a police cruiser pulled up. 2 officers, Carter and Hayes, stepped out. My stomach flipped had Laura called the cops on Sami Saw. James Carter? Officer Carter asked. I nodded, bracing myself. We got a call about a disturbance. Something about trees. I exhaled, frustration bubbling. Yeah, Laura Mitchell had city trees cut down illegally. I filed a complaint, and the city confirmed no permits. Carter glanced at Laura's house, where a curtain twitched. She says you're harassing her over approved landscaping. I nearly choked. Approved by Saw Her Saw. Officer, it's city property damage. Hayes sighed. Sounds like an HOA dispute. Keep the peace, Mr. Carter. They drove off, Leah VYing me fuming. I needed a bigger weapon. That night, slumped on my couch, scrolling through forums about rogue HOAs, it hit me like a lightning bolt. My cousin, Nate, worked for the state something about trees. I vaguely recalled Aunt Linda bragging at Thanksgiving VYing about his big promotion. A quick search confirmed it. Nate Carter, Deputy Director, State Forestry Commission. His photo showed him in a crisp green uniform, looking like he could command a forest. I called him, spilling the whole saga chainsaws, Laura's clipboard, her begonia obsession, the city's confirmation. After a long pause, Nate's voice was calm but steely. She cut multiple trees without permits in Greenhaven? James, those trees are part of the state-protected urban canopy initiative. That's a serious violation. My jaw dropped. You're kidding. He wasn't. Remo VYing those trees without state approval? Big trouble. Send me everything, photos, names, details. I emailed Nate, buzzing with anticipation. Days later, an official letter from the State Forestry Commission arrived, addressed to the Greenhaven HOA, CCing me as the complainant. It announced a site assessment for unauthorized removal of protected arboreal assets. Laura, meanwhile, had hired sketchy contractors to plant flimsy ornamental pears trees that'd snap in a breeze and smell like decay. I strolled over, casual as could be. Nice twigs, I said. You know there's a state investigation, right? The greasy lead contractor shrugged. Lady pays us to plant. Not our problem. I pressed. What happened to the oak and maple wood? Prime stuff. He spat. She said community mulch. Looked like grade A hardwood to me. Then Laura upped the ante. An envelope arrived with 2 violation notices on her signature pastel paper. First, a DULA 200 fine for failing to maintain aesthetic uniformity post-tree removal. Second, a DULA 500 fine for disruptive communication with authorities causing undue duress to the HOA. A laughed a barking, incredulous sound. She was fining me for reporting her crimes. I snapped a photo and emailed Nate. You won't believe this. The day of the state's assessment dawned bright, mocking Laura's mess. I called in sick, grabbed coffee, and parked by my window. 2 green Forestry Commission trucks rolled up, their insignia gleaming. 3 officials stepped out, MOVYing with a calm that screamed, "We mean business." Neighbors emerged, sensing drama. Mrs. Larson clutched a tissue. Tom put down his shears. Laura appeared on her porch, clipboard in hand, her usual swagger faltering. The lead official, whom I dubbed Ranger Ellis, approached her, tablet in hand, gesturing at the stumps. Laura's voice rose, her clipboard tapping frantically, probably quoting her precious bylaws. Ellis looked unimpressed, like she'd heard all before. The other officials got to work soil samples, photos, every stump documented like a crime scene. Laura's face turned from red to ghostly white. Then, the moment I'd dreamed of, a truck door opened, and out stepped Nate, in full deputy director glory, sunglasses and all. He nodded to Ellis, surveyed the wreckage, and locked eyes with me through the window, giving a tiny smile. He approached Laura. "Mrs. Mitchell, I'm Nate Carter, deputy director. There's been a misunderstanding about these trees' protected status. State Code 305.7, subsection B, carries substantial penalties for unauthorized removal." Laura stammered, pointing at me. "Your saw his saw cousin." I leaned out my window, grinning. "Surprise, Laura. Want to discuss aesthetic uniformity with the deputy director?" As Laura deflated, a police cruiser pulled up Carter and Hayes again. Ellis showed them her ID and tablet, and their demeanor shifted to all business. Carter radioed. "Situation involved illegal destruction of state property. Need a super VY SOAR and maybe a paramedic HOA. President's not looking good." The neighborhood buzzed with glee. Laura was done. Weeks later, the fallout was glorious. Laura faced crippling fine state penalties for each tree, plus city fines for unpermitted removal. The HOA ousted her unanimously, her allies abandoning ship. She became a shadow, scurrying to her car, clipboard gone, smirk erased. The Forestry Commission mandated replanting native oaks and maples, overseen by Dr. Evelyn Thorne, a quirky arborist who played Mozart to the saplings, claiming it helped their roots. Watching a red oak take root where Old Man Sycamore felt like healing. Tom, now HOA president, promised no stupid rules and quiet leaf blowers. Greenhaven was reborn. I became a quiet hero. Mrs. Larson baked me a cherry pie. Tom offered his mower. Nate checked in, chuckling. "Any more rogue begonia syndicates?" I laughed, gazing at the new oak. "Nah, we learned our lesson." "Thanks, Nate." Nature, it turns out, had the last word, with a little help from a well-placed cousin. So what do you think? Was Laura a misguided VY scienary or a power-hungry tyrant? Should HOAs have unchecked power over public spaces? Would you have fought like James or let it slide? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're team trees, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood tales.